Hey everybody, this is Tyson.
And Logan.
And you're listening to Dad Bods and Beards podcast. It's a show that gives you a fresh look on being a father, a husband, and honestly, a man being in today's world.
For people who want to have a good time, laugh, and be uplifted, thanks for subscribing and listening. Now for the show. So, we got kind of a special one today. This has been a long time coming. We've got a longtime family friend. I'd probably, like I've said to Tyson, you're probably more of like a second big brother to me, because one, I think you beat up on me probably just as much as my brother did growing up. Two, I don't know if you remember this one. You drug me behind your boat when we went wakeboarding at one time. So this is Jordan Stevenson. I grew up with Jordan. He has an amazing story. We wanted to bring him on. Jordan is a veteran, so there's obviously all the gratitude and things that comes with that. But dude, your story is unbelievable. I remember getting a text from my brother after your accident happened. So I don't want to spill the beans. I want you to tell that story because I think it's more impactful. And we're going to share this at the end. We're going to share about your book, but I wanted to read the back of it before we kind of got into you kind of just telling your story. So Jordan Stevenson spent his childhood dreaming of the day he'd get to wear the American flag on his sleeve. After witnessing the attacks on September 11th, 2001, Jordan joined the fight as a U.S. Navy explosive ordnance disposal technician. While deployed with the 75th ARMY Ranger Battalion, Jordan was shot in the head. In this inspiring memoir, Jordan reveals how he found strength and the will to recover and survive. Jordan is a thriving example of what's possible even against insurmountable odds. So
fancy, right?
Yeah, dude, I love that. Like this book, I'm gonna plug it a couple of times, but like Unstoppable. I've started reading it, and like, dude, I mean, we were just talking about this. I get emotional. That's no secret. Like, I'm getting emotional reading it.
He doesn't get emotional.
You're the emotional guy on the show.
I'm the big cry baby. But so, like, what led you to wear? Like, I know this is such a super big.
Well, I don't know. If you don't mind, I want to talk. Like me and David, your brother, always talk about it. Like, I don't remember not knowing David, so therefore I don't remember not knowing you. So it's kind of one and the same for you and your family.
Yeah.
And me. I've known you guys for as long as I can.
That's what I'm saying. Like you just from childhood, and like, you know, you're one of the guys that I looked up to, for an example, playing football. I mean, I just remember you track and field, all that stuff in high school. But thanks for saying that. I like that.
And me and him are best friends. We just met.
So. Yeah, you just met 5 minutes ago.
We already bonded like that.
Yeah. So when someone asks you, like, well, what's your story? Like, what's like the first thing you start with? Because I know you do motivational speaking too a lot now. So like, what's like your start? Like, how do you like express your story from the beginning?
I guess it depends on the context where we're at. Like if it's my leg, because I have a prosthetic leg now, so I lost my leg. I chose to get my leg cut off below the knee on my right leg because I'm completely paralyzed on my right arm and right leg. So usually it's someone tries to shake my hand and I can't. And then it goes into, well, what happened? And I have this big scar on my head. I'm like, well, I got shot in the head. And then it's, if you got shot in the head, what happened to your leg?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, the left side of your brain controls the right side of your body, so I completely lost the use of my right arm and my right leg because I got shot through the head.
Yeah.
And then that's usually how it starts.
So I remember when you were getting your right leg amputated.
Not an easy choice.
No, but I remember this post. I remember on Facebook, we were all following your journey on Facebook, and you said, to the doctor who told me I'd never walk again, you're like, bleep you. I'm like, that was like the most like impactful thing, because they're just unstoppable. Like, dude, like that's the thing that I think about, of just like the willpower to just work through what you fought through.
Well, that goes back to like when I first woke up out of my coma, and they told me I'd never walk in, and my family was told me, you know, he may never be able to even speak again.
Gosh, dude. So you were in, what country were you in?
I was in Afghanistan, Sharana, Providence.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of saying. Can we start from the very beginning, like you,
I guess,
enlisting and just kind of
you got to define the beginning, because
in
my book the beginning goes all the way back to like when I was a little kid and playing games with his brother and things like that.
Yeah.
So.
So why don't we start from that beginning? Let's just kind of get to know who you are, because not a lot of these guys who are listening will know that. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Me and Logan are both originally from Elk Grove, California, and I grew up on a really small street. All of us boys knew each other really well, and his name was Kevin Tatum, still one of our best friends with me and his brother, and the three of us are still really close friends. Mm-hmm. And we grew up just playing like war games over the fences and through each other's backyards. Back in the 90s or the 80s, that was normal.
Yeah.
Like we just lived on the street.
Yeah.
And all the neighbors, there must have been like an unwritten rule between the parents and the people that lived on the street that these little boys were just going to do what they're going to do, and nobody cared. Now that I'm a grown up and I have my own backyard, I'm like, I don't know if I want all these little kids running through my yard. But, so the fact that all these people were just cool with us boys running around causing ruckus was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then playing games and that, and so that's where like my, I think, affinity for it started, where I was like, this is so much fun playing with like my little Nerf guns, jumping over fences, feeling like I was this really cool special forces guy, and it was just like fascinated my whole life from that point on. Then I learned, like, as I got older, like, people really do this for a living. Like, it's not just in movies. Like, this is cool.
Yeah.
And then just grew from there. And I was an athlete my whole life. Football, wrestling, track and field, you name it, I played it and did it. So I was already like knuckle dragging meathead. So it was just a natural curve to end up that way in my life eventually.
Okay.
When I was telling Tyson, I remember you used to have like the coolest freaking cars, dude. You had that Camaro.
So I was the youngest in my family, and the youngest, the stereotype is the spoiled kid. I fully admit that. I'm grateful for it, but I had a lot of really cool cars. My Camaro, my Yukon,
the freaking
my 55
Chevy Bel Air, dude. Like, how many kids in high school have a 55 Chevy Bel Air? Like, that was
none.
Didn't you wreck that though?
Well, you were in high school. I wasn't in high school.
Oh yeah, it was after.
So it was my freshman year of college that I got that.
Yeah.
And I got T-boned in my Camaro, so that totaled that car, which wasn't my fault. I mean, I drove that car 100 miles an hour everywhere.
Yeah.
So the fact that I wasn't the one responsible for the crash is a miracle to itself. And then I had my Yukon, which I took up to Oregon, rolled that in the snow, hit some black ice, and rolled that. That's how. And my next car following that was the 55 Chevy Bel Air. This red, beautiful Chevy Bel Air. It was so awesome.
Yeah. What happened to that one?
I blew the engine.
Yeah.
Rebuilt that, and then that was right around when I joined the military, and my parents sold it when I left to boot camp. No.
So September 11th sparked, like you said, it sparked a desire in you to join.
Yeah,
so
my freshman year in high school.
Yeah. So when you had the opportunity to join and you jumped on it, did you always want to go Navy? Is that or did that what led you to choose Navy?
It was to be a SEAL. I wanted to be a SEAL. That was it. That was all I wanted to do. Don't give me any other contract. I just wanted to be a SEAL. So I actually enlisted my freshman year or my senior year of high school. I enlisted before I graduated. The whole MEPS process, raised my hand, did everything. But then I got offered a scholarship to run track and field in college, and I took that scholarship. And the Navy was like, yeah, let this college pay for your school so we don't have to. So I took that, joined a fraternity in college, and that was pretty much the end of college at that point for me.
Yeah.
Once I joined a fraternity, and partying and girls became way more important than academics.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure is the case for a lot of people, but I wasn't able to keep up on my schoolwork. When classes started at 7, and I'd get to school on time, but man, my car seat was real comfortable, and I would just fall asleep in my car in the parking lot. So I was at school. I just didn't make it into class. Yeah. And in high school, I could like schmooze my way in to get a good grade, get some extra credit from my teachers. That doesn't happen in college.
It doesn't.
You can't talk your way into a better grade in college.
Yeah.
Which I was able to do as a younger kid in high school. I really need to play this Friday at the football game. Is there any extra credit you can give me so I can get my grade up so that I'm still eligible to play? And high school teachers are more likely to do that because of that. The stakes aren't as high, I guess, for college.
Interesting.
So then that was the end of my college career athletically, and being the meathead still and having that influence of what happened, what I saw and experienced as a freshman, seeing 9/11 happen, and now being old enough that I knew people that were fighting, that had joined the military. I knew it was something I had to do. I was physically capable of it. I thought I was mentally strong enough to do it, and I felt like it was my duty and my purpose to go be a part of it and do it.
Yeah.
And I loved every second of it.
Did you?
Loved it. It was everything I dreamt about doing as a kid, from the little toy Nerf guns that I was telling you guys about earlier. Like, it was everything. Like, I was doing it with real guns now. And some of the best friendships I've ever had were with some of these guys that I got to work with every day.
So you felt like you found your calling.
It was what I was meant to do.
That's cool. How's that? I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I know what that feeling feels like. Like, I mean, to say like, oh, like this is what I'm doing. Like, it's like I loved every aspect of it. So that's really cool to hear. I like that.
Well, one of the things, because people are always like, oh, that's such a bummer. I'm like, it sucks what happened to me, but I chased it was like my dream as a kid, and I chased it and I accomplished my dream.
Yeah.
It didn't end the way I wanted it to, but I still get to say that I chased my dreams and I did it. And I'm very proud of that. So regardless of what happened to me following that dream, I still did it. So I can look back and say I chased my dreams. It didn't work out how I thought it would, but I did it. I didn't give up. I chased my dreams.
I love that, dude. We could almost like, and done. Like, dude, that's really, like, I mean, that's all anybody freaking hopes for, dude, is chase your dreams and then feel like fulfilled in it. So how long were you in the military before that happened, before your accident happened?
So since I signed up to go into Special Forces out of the gate, it's a 6-year contract. Typically it's a 4-year contract, but since I was Special Forces and they're going to invest that time and money into me, it's a 6-year obligation. So I was coming up on my 6-year obligation before my injury. And then I got shot. I just signed an extension for another 4 years while I was deployed, because you do it while you're deployed because then there's no taxes on it.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is awesome. So I got I got like a $40K signing bonus while I was overseas, not taxed. It's like, this is awesome. And then that's when I got hurt.
Do you want to tell us exactly what happened that night or day or?
So
Are you comfortable?
I'm comfortable with that. And if I miss some parts, I fill it in my book.
Okay.
I mean, nice little plug right there, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I remember everything. My TBI, my brain injury, didn't lose any of my memory. I remember everything. I remember everything up to the point that I was injured. It was just a normal work routine. I'd only been in country there for 8 days. It was my 8th night, 8th operation going into that night. Did our briefs, got all of our gear ready, and we were ready to go. I went and took a nap after my workout, after the briefs. So I woke up, did the briefs, got all my gear ready, did a workout, and then went and took like an hour nap before because we didn't go out until like almost midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. And we weren't planning to touch ground until around 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, Sharon, Afghanistan time. So I took a little nap after my workout and then went to go get on the Chinooks. And it was the kind of cold that it's like hard to explain the kind of cold that it felt there. With the wind and the helicopter, it was like just freezing, like into your soul kind of cold. To where nothing keeps you warm. Those little hand warmer things you shake were garbage.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if that's a plug for you guys, but they didn't work for me. And nothing. So we were just huddled in this little bunch waiting for our helicopter to come and pick us up. And then you get on the helicopter, and that's when like the adrenaline hits. You go, all right, now it's time to go to war. And you're not cold anymore because that adrenaline's just flowing through you, and you're just ready. And then it was like a 45-minute flight from, I think, I don't really remember, but at least it felt like that long, if not longer, from liftoff from base to touchdown to the target, maybe 45 minutes, maybe an hour of flight time. And you get off and it's freezing cold. The farm field that we landed on is frozen. So we're running over like you'd like to see the farm field, like with the rollers, but it's pitch black. So we're on night vision. Night vision doesn't give you that good a depth perception. So you're trying to run up to our target building with these rolling things. So you're just trying not to fall over the whole time. And I had a private with me, a little army guy that was carrying my ladder for me. I'm the bomb guy. So I was tasked with, the building we were assaulting had these huge walls, almost over 20 feet high walls all the way around this home. And there were vehicles all inside of this compound, this building. And they wanted me to get eyes on the vehicles inside the compound so that if I could see anything that made me think that it was a VBID, which is a vehicle-borne ID, so that as our guys breach this compound and go in, they don't detonate a VBID and take my whole team out with them. So I was tasked to get eyes on these vehicles.
It's pretty intense.
Looking back, yeah, when you're in the moment, you're just doing what you do. You're just doing your job.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But so I get up. I remember getting up to the ladder, on the top of the ladder, and everything's clear in hindsight, and everything's 20/20 in hindsight. And it was my first time being up on a ladder like that, up on the roof. And so I probably silhouetted myself with the moon behind me. So I'm sure I gave him a nice, clear target to aim at. Once he came out, but I was so hyper focused on these vehicles because my whole team is now my responsibility. Mm-hmm. If they go in, one of these vehicles is rigged, that's my responsibility. So I was so hyper focused on these vehicles, looking for anything that I could think that make me think that there's a VBID. So if the vehicle's weighted really heavy on one side or the other, or especially near the trunk area, then I'm thinking there's something in the trunk that now I'm worried about in the truck. So I remember, last thing I remember was radioing to my team that I thought the vehicles looked clear, and because I didn't see anything that made me suspect that there were any VBIDs or that anything was going to detonate, because the guy I think was a bomb builder. So I don't remember seeing anything that I thought would hurt my team. And I remember radioing to my team that it was clear, and that's where my memory stops. I don't remember anything after radioing my team that it was clear, because I was so hyper focused on these vehicles in front of me that I didn't see the guy coming out of the building, who had his wife in front of him as a shield.
His wife.
His wife was he was holding his wife as a shield in front of him, and he came out with an AK-47 and opened fire on me. Whether or not he was just spraying and praying and just pulling down the trigger and let it on full auto and shooting at me, and one of them happened to catch me. But that's when he came out of that building with his wife in front of him as an open fire on me. I don't remember anything after that, but after the radio call. But from what I've been told is that I came back down on target with my weapon and opened fire, and I put 30 rounds back down range after I got shot through the head. I don't remember any of it. I just attribute that to muscle memory and doing what my body knew what to do.
With all the training you've done.
All the training, and the adrenaline's just like flowing through you, and you're now it's game on, and then I eventually passed out and fell off the wall.
And then you woke up.
And then I woke up in the hospital. I don't remember. Yeah, that's.
And did you fall? This might not be that important of a question. Did you fall back towards your team or inside the compound?
I fell back towards my team. So yeah,
I thought the same thing. I wanted to ask.
Because that's what, like, at that point.
So
then it's an extraction, right? But
imagine you're this young 18-year-old private on his first deployment, holding the ladder for me, and then you see me,
boom,
falling down. Gunfire, body.
So.
But from his perspective, from what I've heard him say, is it looked like I was floating as I was falling. You could see, he said he saw me coming, and it looked like I was floating, which could have been his adrenaline too, just all the excitement. Everything slows down when you're have that much adrenaline flowing through you.
So I wanted to ask you two questions, and so it's a twofold.
Sure.
How, obviously, it affected you physically.
Right.
So what was your recovery physically, and then emotionally and mentally, that had to be taxing, and with PTSD, with all you said everything's open, so I wanted to so I wanted, because obviously we really want to strike mental health at
right.
But at the same time I think your physical had to be taxing as well, physical, mentally. So one of the things that I've had to come to like grips with and to be comfortable in my own life and in my own skin was, because people ask me how long it took me to recover, and my answer is always I still am. So I'm still in physical recovery. I'm still trying to get better physically, and I'm still trying to get better mentally. I will forever be in recovery, mentally and physically. And that's just something that I've gotten comfortable with, and that's how my life's going to be. And the best way for me to live forward is just to find the positives in that. And do you ever have to relive it and you hate it? I don't. I think about that night thousands of times every day. When I'm like, man, if I would have just kept my head a little lower on that wall, would he have been able to hit me, or would it have grazed my helmet rather than penetrating it? And I relive that moment regularly. Or the what ifs can kill me and can kill you. If we sit and dwell on how hard things were, and we forget to look at how great things are now. So that's one of the things that I really try to, build in myself, is like, I could sit and be so bitter and upset and angry about what happened to me, and then I'm forgetting like how awesome things are now. Like
watching my kids do things now. If I'm at one of my kids' games or track meets, because my kids are running track now too, which is fun for me because that's what I did.
That is cool.
Then I'm not getting to enjoy that moment and seeing them enjoy their life if I'm just sitting there in my own what ifs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that answered that question.
I love that.
So how long?
You were going to ask me how long my recovery was.
No. How long did it take you to accept what happened to you?
I don't know if there's a moment where I'm like, it was like that light bulb.
Okay.
I think it's because it's like I said, it's a process. It is a continuing process.
And what was that process like to you? Like, did you go to therapy? Did you go to classes?
I did for a while, and then I just got to a point where I think with my background, especially in the military and in sports, like no one's gonna push me harder than me. So no one's gonna make me get to the points that I want to be harder than myself. So I stopped doing physical therapy and I stopped going to therapy, and I do it on my own now. So going to the gym and working out now and working on the things that are going to make my life happier and better, that's my therapy now.
Okay.
And when I get to come and sit with you guys, or I go and do motivational speaking somewhere at a school or an association or company, like that's therapy to me. It's like when you point out the elephant in the room, it's not so awkward anymore, right?
Yeah.
So when I go up and I'm like, here's all my flaws, here's all the really bad things that happened to me, then it's not so, that weight is a little lighter when I get to share it and kind of, which is probably what happens in therapy when people go and talk.
100% what it is.
I've had that experience, but I got to a point where I wanted more, and now I think I find more, because I still want to be a part of something, because being part of being in the military is you feel like you're part of something bigger. So I took what I've learned through the therapies that I've been in, and now I get to incorporate them and share them. And that is the bigger therapy for me, being helpful.
I mean, you hit it on the nose. We talk about it all the time of like, this is almost us starting this podcast is almost more therapeutic for he and I talking about all of our crap than maybe what we share with people. Like, it's more like just hearing yourself talk about it. And like you said, pointing out the elephant in the room. I like that a lot. I
think we need purpose. I think as men, we need purpose.
Yeah.
And so for me, sitting in myself and in my feelings without a purpose was where I was struggling. Once I started to find purpose and invest my energy into that purpose, I started to feel a lot better about my life and where I was going and my emotional confidence to do the things that I needed to do to be better.
So I had a friend, I have a friend who was a crew chief in Qatar and working on F-35s. Well, just an individual F-35. And that was during the Second War. He was getting bombed and some of the shrapnel hit him. And it created a lot of PTSD with him to the point where he almost, he was thinking about leaving his wife, all this kind of stuff. How did that affect you at all? Did that affect you at all in your personal relationships? Did it affect you still today?
Probably. I don't give it enough energy to have that power over me.
See, and that's crazy to me. Not that you, but it's just that you know how hard that is to do. That is like so hard to not focus on that stuff. Like, how do you not give that power? I'm dead serious. Like, how do you tell someone to say, "Hey, don't think about it," and they're, "Oh, okay."
If I exhaust, I think this goes back to my purpose. If I exhaust my energy into my purpose, I don't have energy for anything else. So my energy is into, because I coach high school sports. If I'm planning and helping those kids out, and then I go home and I take my son to wrestling and my daughter to her track and field club team, and then time with my wife and my relationships with my family, I don't have the energy to be angry at myself in my life. I find so much happiness in what I'm doing, and I focus on those things. And if I hyper focus on this thing, then this thing's kind of fogs out, and I don't give it power over me. I don't want this. You won't offend me with any question, and there's no question, because I want to be helpful. So if someone's going to take something that you ask me and incorporates it in their life, then all the better.
So with my depression and anxiety, like I'm never experienced anything you have.
So I'm going to stop you right there. You just degraded yourself.
I did. I felt it
for no purpose.
Well, it's just because I'm very respectful.
To elevate me, you lowered yourself, which isn't fair to yourself. Yeah. So my experiences are my experiences. Your experiences are your experience. So what you're feeling is different than what I experienced. So all of our experiences are different. So
Okay, thank you.
I freaking loved that.
I know.
I'm like, that is like,
Well,
okay,
that's-
we're done. Like, I've said that twice now. Like,
I hope you don't mind me calling you out on the spot.
No.
no, that was amazing.
No, because
I do that to myself. Like I'll catch myself and I'll be like, I'll go have a talk in the mirror. Like,
because I want you to know I respect everything you've done, and so. But with that being said, when I go to therapy and stuff, because I do believe in it, I will be sitting here and I'll tell him what I've done. I focus on this. I focus on this. I focus on this. So I don't have time to think about it. And he's like, no, you need time to think on it. You need to be able to overcome that and focus on you and give your time, your energy. And I was just wondering, do you feel like that is healthy for you, or is it just?
I think for me it works good. And one of the things that I caught when you were just talking about, like, you talking about things that you've done and things that you've done.
Yeah.
And I think about things that I'm doing and things that I'm doing.
That's what I'm doing. Like I'm doing.
And not things that I've done. I think about things I'm doing. I can't live in my past. I made a lot of mistakes in my life, and I can't be that guy anymore. So one of the things I talk about when I speak is like, I take every opportunity to start over.
Mm-hmm.
And starting over doesn't mean giving up. That just means you're changing. I could start over and I just look at things from a different point of view. That maybe that's where you start over. I'm just going to look at things a little differently. That's my start over. So every morning I start over. Every day is a new opportunity to be better. So one of the things I practice is like when someone's like, "Oh, how are you doing today?" That right there's an opportunity to start over. Start my day over. I'm great because right now I'm deciding to be great. So every moment is an opportunity to be better and to be different than I was 5 minutes ago.
See, I like that you're saying that, because a lot of times, like, because we're big on like we just talked about this, like perspective, gratitude. Looking at things in the best way possible, and then how much of an impact that can have on your life. We have a friend that went through insanely tough battles with addiction, in and out of, like troubles with he did some time, but now he is a super motivational guy. Talks about gratitude till he's blue in the face, and he's just like, changes your life, perspective changes your life. But then there are people who will argue that of like, well, it's not that simple. Right. And I'm not saying that necessarily that it's simple, but I like that you're saying that, because it's like, how many times we've asked somebody like, how you doing today? And then they'll be like, well, I'm all right. We're all hanging in
I'm
there.
all right. Yeah.
Hanging in there. Like, well, another day, it's Monday, or Monday on a Wednesday type stuff. Like, I know something that's just like, dad jokes, but like, I'm guilty of that. Like, oh, pretty good. Like, why didn't I just say like, I'm doing great? Like, it's like, it's a chance to start over. I like that. It's a chance of like, okay, in this moment, hard reset, perspective, gratitude, say what I'm grateful for. Because like, growing up with you and you say, seeing the difference in you from the Jordan I grew up with, right? Versus, the adult Jordan.
I like to think there's some similarities still there.
Well, no, there's still a ton of similarities, right? But I'm saying like just the, and obviously with time and stuff like that, like age and maturity and things like that, right? And then it's just it's so cool to see like how the guy that you are now, like just driven and focused, your dad and your father, like your husband, like all that is like just your priorities like are so clear cut that it's inspiring to see that like there's no room for the things that don't serve your family or serve you in your life. And given everything that you've gone through, like you have every reason and every excuse in the book to just like get a pass on everything. Like you could get a pass on everything and no one's going to argue with you, but you're the guy sitting here being like, I don't want a pass. Don't give me a pass. I want like, so then it's like, what excuses do we have? And I'm not trying to tear myself down. I don't know how to get like, like my turn, but that's what I'm saying. Like, so just the awareness, dude. I mean, there's a stigma behind parts of your life. We talk about stigma with mental health, stigma with parenting and relationships. So that's why I'm so glad we had you on, dude. Cause it's like,
I have to say that doesn't mean that I don't have bad days still.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that because I come off very proud and confident, but there are definitely those days where I wake up and I have to put my leg back on to go to the bathroom out of bed, and I'm pissed and I'm angry. Those moments happen. That's where you say you allow yourself to have those, or you think about those things. And I do. I give myself those times to think about it and process it, but I don't let them hang on.
I like that.
I allow myself to feel it and be angry and upset, but I got things to do, so I put my leg on and I get up and I'm great today.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about your wife for a second, if that's okay. So I grew up with Sarah. Same thing. Grew up like around the corner. Sarah.
Literally
Yeah.
around the corner.
Had a crush on her,
Which is my
for a
wife.
while. I said to Tyson, I think in middle school I had a crush on.
Did you
my
guys
wife.
play Nerf guns with her too?
Yeah.
No,
But
no, she was her brother's. Her brother Scott is a year older than me, and he was in my friend circle, but I never knew the little sister. So he was playing Nerf guns with us, but we didn't know the little sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
it's
it's
being
funny.
12. You don't focus.
So
Right, girls are weird.
Yeah.
she's super positive, super
Always.
super infectious person to
Still
be
is.
around. She's always been a really nice, person to hang out with and be around. And I feel like she's like like just from experience, I mean, helping you guys when you moved here and just knowing you guys both like all through childhood and now. And I feel like she's like the perfect person for you, because it's like, I don't like, she's just always like up. You know what I mean? Like she always seems very uplifting, and just, reading about how you talk about her in the book and stuff. But that's not how it always was for you, right?
No,
'Cause I remember-
she's absolutely my counterpart.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't be anywhere near where I am in recovery, physically and mentally, without her being herself with me.
Yeah. So can I ask, because Sarah's your second wife,
She
right?
is.
Can we ask about that, or is that off the table?
About Sarah, I don't want to talk about my ex-wife.
Okay,
what
that's
you mean.
fine. But that's, so what was it like when you met
I
Sarah?
mean, what I will say about my ex-wife is that she's a great mom.
Yeah.
And we do our best to co-parent as best as we can. And that's,
Yeah.
things didn't work out. We were really young when we got married, and
Yeah.
we didn't know we weren't prepared for what we got ourselves into when we got into it.
Yeah. And I appreciate you saying that. And I'm wondering more like when you met Sarah and when all that started to change, and realizing like, oh, this is the person that I need, like finding that person and then building a new life with Sarah. So when was that? How long after you got home and after getting shot? Like, was it, I can't remember the story when you guys met.
One of the things that I struggled with really bad when I first moved home and retired out of the military was letting the old Jordan go. That was really hard to let him go, because I wanted so bad to be that guy still, that dated a lot of girls, was really strong, was still really athletic.
Mm-hmm.
I still wanted to be that guy really bad, so I was trying really hard. I tried for a long time to still be that guy and date a lot of girls, and it wasn't working.
Yeah.
Because I was looking for the wrong things. And then we're in Utah, so we could share this stuff. I had been inactive from the LDS church for probably like 15 years.
Yeah.
If not more. And my home teacher, as a child, my home teacher, because we had home teachers back then, he came to visit me, and he asked me just to see how I was doing, just to check on me. He didn't bring up anything serious. But the very next day, who I was a junior companion with, his name was Brother French. I'm sure you remember Brother French.
I know, yes, yeah.
Coolest dude in the world. I love that guy. And he was not as subtle as Henry Lindsay was, who was my home teacher. And he went straight to us like, all right, when are you coming back to church then? Like, I was like, at this point, I'm like, I have nothing. What do I have to lose? I'm a disabled single dad, moved back to my hometown. I have nothing. I don't have anything. And I was like, all right, yeah, I'll go. Let's go this weekend. So he calls up Henry Lindsay, who just came to see me the day before, and I'm like, he was like, you guys planned this?
Yeah.
I think they both denied it, that they planned it, that it just happened. So maybe they were just following inspiration. But he called Henry Lindsay, and Henry Lindsay came to pick me up. That's, of all days, the first day I decided to go back to church is the Saturday State Conference. So totally random, right?
Yeah.
That's my first day back after 15 years, was the Saturday State Conference.
And those are usually pretty adult concept.
I mean, I'm an adult at this point.
No,
I'm
what
26
I mean
years
though is they're pretty intense usually.
So I'm sitting with Henry Lindsay, and his daughter-in-law's little sister, Sarah, comes over to say hi to him, and I'm there too. And then that's when I first met her. And I'm Jordan Stevenson, and she's like, and then her mom, and everyone's like, "Oh, we thought you died."
Scott he left that detail
Yeah,
out when he's telling his family, huh?
Because Judy heard about me, but she heard that I died.
It's funny.
I'm like, no, I'm still
You're like,
I'm still very much
kicking. I'm like, hey, I'm right here.
right here. And then I found her on social media after that and chased her down and started dating her. And
good for you.
Yeah, I
so
remember.
my very first day back to church, I met my wife.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember Dave.
He was inspired.
I remember my brother being like, "Hey, Jordan's dating Sarah Crandall now," and I'm like, "Oh."
So you gotta imagine this is like completely different sides of the spectrum between me and the Crandall family, like completely different spectrums. Very committed, faithful family, and me, like beard,
Yeah.
tattoos. I had a good decent beard, like
You did, yeah.
And she one of the first things she told me was how much better I'd look without it.
That's funny.
So I went home and I shaved my beard. Won't do it again. Don't worry. I know it's Dad Bods and Beards, but this is staying firmly intact to me now. She likes it now, so we're good. And she's married to me now, so
you got her. Yeah,
she's hooked,
locked in. Yeah. Well, I say this is a joke. I don't wholeheartedly mean it. I said with just some beard stuff we do. I say like a man who shaves his beard for a woman deserves neither, right? But no, versus I'm going to be probably cutting mine off soon. But no, I love that because, like I said, growing up with both of you guys, and it's so cool to just see like here we are down the road. You know, we're all adults, and it's like to see that the life that you guys have built together, and all the little kids you guys have got running everywhere.
Yeah, we got between me and her, we have 3 kids now.
Yeah, and I mean, and yeah, it's just it's so cool to see you taking something like I said that gives you every excuse in the book to just, you know, whether just completely shut down or like you like the dark side of it, or you know let it lead you down the darkest path of no return, right? Like you expressed with Coop in your book.
That was the defining moment, I think, of my recovery was losing Chief Cooper.
Yeah. So I wanted to can I read part of that intro real quick?
Yeah, I don't know where
just this.
If you got it memorized, you know the page. Sure.
This is right here that I wanted to read this one little segment. So it's on page 4. It says, I'm writing in honor of Steve Cooper and for anyone struggling to find hope. I know what it's like. I've been down to rock bottom and had to find a way to climb out. I've been lost in the dark and had to create my own light to find a way out. I'm not here to give you a rah-rah speech and the 1, 2, 3 steps. I'm here to tell you it's possible. The rest is up to you. Like, I mean, that's on page 4, dude. Like that's, and I mean, and this is, it's not a super long book, but it is super powerful. I stayed up really late last night continuing to read. Like my brother was saying he read 90% of it when he was on a plane. Like it's hard to put down. And it's because you can feel the emotion behind it. I mean, you can feel like this is like a real story. Not only like, is it like, not only we were just talking before we started recording, like that you probably do deserve to be a movie given how everything has gone, but
I'm available.
Producer Tommy, you know, but I mean, I remember like seeing the photos of like you first waking up on Facebook and seeing
half my head.
And yeah, I'm like, that's like, it was like jarring because I'm like this, like I told you, like, and we started kind of kicked it off kind of like a cold or like a cold open in the beginning with like, oh, like funny memories of like, I remember you guys coming home from practice and I was still in junior high and you guys put the pads and the helmet on me and like you all took turns just putting me into the grass. And then we went
practice.
We went wakeboarding.
We toughed them up.
We went wakeboarding in January. And
standard.
I'd never been wakeboarding before, and you get going on the boat, and I fall, and my head goes through the rope, and you're just like you just kick it up, and I think anyways, but like all of those fun memories.
You survived.
I survived, but then it's like I have these fun core memories, like I said, like like my brother's friends were like other big brothers to me, and then to see you sitting in the hospital like that was like it hurt, and then Dave and Kevin flying out to go talk to you and meet with you and give you a blessing and things like that. And like I said, it's truly inspiring. I don't think you could have picked a more powerful title of Unstoppable, because I'd say if you looked up the definition of unstoppable, it's probably you and like David Goggins. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know if I'd put myself up on that level yet, but if I had 2 legs, I would definitely be running with them.
Yeah. But like, well, he's another Navy guy. You Navy guys are just something else.
We get ragged on a lot, but I think we're tougher than people give us credit for.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I don't think anything that we're going to talk about here is going to do justice that you're going to find in the book. So I wanted to say, well, we're going to put a link on our page to Jordan's book. You can get it on Amazon. It's called Unstoppable. It's the power of never giving up. It's, I mean, what is it, like 100?
It's only 140 pages.
140 pages. It's super powerful. If you want to be motivated, like we've talked about motivation versus discipline here a lot. If you want an example of what motivation turned into discipline is, it is absolutely your book.
Okay, now I want to know what do you got? What is Motivation and discipline. What's the difference?
So we had a whole episode on it where motivation can be fleeting. Like you can get motivated from an Instagram reel.
I agree.
But discipline is you do it because you need to. You do it because it's like it works. Like you know what's gonna come from it. Like I
think that's in the beginning of the part you read where it's like this isn't a rah rathing. And when I'm a motivational speaker, I'm not like let's go get it.
Yeah.
Because that's very fleeting. Like anyone can get really jacked up for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But in 30 minutes, how are you going to feel? In a day, how are you going to feel? So when I talk, I try to make that a lasting impression that carries more than just the hour after you leave.
Yeah.
So, but it is teaching the discipline that discipline is the ability to hang on to that motivation.
Oh, I like that. Discipline's the ability to hang on to that motivation. I like that.
I just came up with that.
I like it.
Coin it.
Yeah, trademark.
So to end, if you could tell anyone who's listening right now about mental health and recovery, what advice would you give them?
I guess this comes down to the perspective stuff we already kind of talked about and I read it the other day. It's like the stuff that you want is just on the other side of that hill that's in your way. Like, so that burden that's right in front of you, if you can endure that moment of struggle, everything you're working for is right there. You just can't see it because of the stuff in front of you. But if you can endure through that struggle to allow yourself the time to see the progress, it's right there. Standing up next to my bed was one of the biggest wins that I got.
Yeah.
And if the me in the hospital could see the Jordan that's doing podcasts with you guys, and I've been up on stages with a couple thousand people, like if that guy could see the stuff I'm doing now, like how stoked would he be? So when I was in that really dark place, if I didn't give myself the time to see what I could become now, I would still be in that dark place. And I think a lot of the guys that I saw killed themselves while I was still in the hospital. They never gave themselves the opportunity to get better. So I think patience is hard, but it's the most important.
I like that. Sometimes that's the hardest thing.
It is the hardest.
So if you guys want to get in touch with Jordan, we're going to link all of his social media. You guys are going to see some cool collaborative posts. But we're going to have a link page that you can get straight to Jordan's book. And if anybody wants to get a hold of you, because you do motivational speaking,
I do.
Where's the best place for them to get a hold of you?
Right now it's still Instagram.
Okay.
I'm working on my website. I need to rebuild my new website.
Okay.
But that's in the process. But in the meantime, Instagram is still probably the best place to find me, which is Headshot Jordan.
Headshot Jordan. I love that. It's just like right out there.
You'll remember it, right?
Yeah, right out there.
So whenever I tell people, they chuckle, but that's because you'll remember it now.
Yeah. And it's just all glamour shots of
it.
Like
just headshots.
80s glamour shots.
Yeah.
I mean, not to toot my own. I look pretty good for a guy that got shot.
A dude that took a chunk out of your head, man.
No, this has been very inspiring. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. So, thanks you guys for listening.
Or if you guys don't mind, if someone reached out to you and
absolutely
connect me.
Yeah. So we'll
reach out to these guys and they'll connect you to me.
100%.
Absolutely. So yeah, thanks guys for listening. That's all we have for you guys today, but that is not the end of Jordan's story. There is so much more meat to that pie. So reach out, get his book. You're not going to regret it. And we'll see you later.
Toodles. Thank you so much for listening, guys. It means the world to us. If you have a chance, please give us a 5-star review, as well as write something a little pretty in there so that we know that you know that we know that you care. Anyway, have a great day, guys. I can't do it.
Dude, that was good. I like that. You can't redo it without laughing. That was good.